You are born in the Holy Roman Empire. Your father is a cobbler. A good one. The kind whose hands are always stained dark at the knuckles. Your mother, on the other hand, sells eggs at the village market every Thursday. She haggles without smiling and wins without apology. You have two sisters, an older one whom you bother a lot, and a younger one you dote on. Life is small but warm, and for you, that is enough. By the time you turn 6, your father has started teaching you his trade, not because you asked, but because you are his son, and this is what sons do. You sit beside him on the bench and watch his hands move. Then he tells you to give it a try. You do, but you are not very good at it yet. He says you will be. You believe him. Years pass, and you have just turned 8 years old. You're good at making shoes now. Not as good as your father, but good regardless. Because of your skill, your father trusts you with getting materials now. He sends you to the local hunters every week to get animal pelts. Due to the demand for pelts, you wait at the edge of the forest so you can be the first to meet them. Some days it works, other days it doesn't. Then one afternoon, you go further than you were supposed to. This is because you haven't been able to get pelts for the past week. For some reason, the hunters come out of the forest from another side, so you hope to meet them in the forest before they come out. And it works. Ahead of you, you see men. You call out to them as you near them. As you get closer, you start to notice something odd. They don't carry bows. They don't look like your typical hunters. And most importantly, you do not recognize them. You realize that you might have met a different group, so you try to leave. But it's too late, as they're already too close to you. You watch as they all spring to action and surround you. You see one of them raise his fist and hit you. That's the last thing you remember. You wake up in a strange place. You don't know where you are. You don't know how long you've been unconscious. But that's not the most important thing, as you notice something else. You're not the only one here. There are other boys. Some are crying. You notice that some have already stopped. You notice this due to the tear stains on their face. Out of the blue, a boy comes to sit beside you. He's older, hollow-eyed, and clearly not new to this. He leans over and tells you something quietly. He says you're in Comprendicho's lair. Comprendichos means child buyers. He says his mother used to warn him about straying too far from the village, but he always thought it was just a story. Turns out, it isn't just a story. At that moment, you hear a child scream. The scream chills you to the bone. You can't see the person that screamed. You only know that he is the same as you, one of the numerous kidnapped boys here. Over the next few days, you watch what happens. You've finally seen the men that kidnapped you. They come to take a boy. You wonder what will happen to him. You never get to think for long, as they come for you eventually. They take you to another room. There, they lock you in a narrow wooden frame. You think it's for punishment, but it isn't. They actually are used to prevent your bones from growing the way bones are supposed to grow. Then they serve you food measured out in amounts calculated to stunt growth without killing. After that, they say they're going to do a procedure on you the next day. By procedure, they mean systematically breaking or deforming your bones to stunt their growth. They do this with the calm efficiency of men who are solving a problem and not hurting a person. When it is over, you are small in ways you were not before. Some of it is your body. Most of it is your mind. You are taken to another room. There you see the boy who had been taken, but he's not the only one, as there are other boys. You all carry the effect of their procedure. A week later, the boy who explained things to you when you first arrived joins you. He is a lot quieter now. You sit next to him. You expect him to start talking like before. After all, you could see that he was a chatty kid. What you do not notice is that the chatty kid from before is gone, permanently damaged. But he's not the only one. You are too. All of you are. Still, he leaves you with something. He tells you that he's sure you'll all be sold, and you should pray that your new master is someone with a conscience. He's right. At least for the first part, as a month later, you're loaded on a cart and taken away. You arrive at the most magnificent place you have ever seen. There you are inspected, measured, and renamed. The name they give you is not unkind, just new. A costume word that does not fit yet, and never quite will. You are assigned a small room in the servants' wing that smells of damp stone and other people's boots. The other children sort you immediately. Squires carrying armor twice their size, serfs boys sweeping courtyards before dawn, even kitchen boys who smell permanently of wood smoke pick on you. They do what children do with anything or anyone different. Pick on it. What makes it unbearable is that the roles could have been reversed. You could have been the boy sweeping the courtyard. You should have been the one carrying water, complaining about chores, falling asleep by the fire with dirt still under your nails. Months ago, you were a normal boy just like them. Now you are something else. Something closer to Frankenstein's monster than a human. After all, the difference between you and them is not who you are. It is what was done to you in a room with no windows. The next week, you're told by a servant that you'll attend lessons. You do not question them. You're already prepared to do anything to make your new master like you. The most you know is that he's a duke, and the words of the broken boy from the room still resound in your head. Pray, your master has a conscience. If boys who have no power over you can pick on you like that, you wonder what a master who owns you could do. Because of that thought, you take your lessons seriously. You're taught how to bow at the precise angle that makes you look awkward, how to fall in a way that makes people laugh without breaking anything they would have to pay for. You are taught when to be clumsy and when to be fluid. At mealtimes, you're allowed to show your progress because laughter is believed to aid digestion. And for now, you are, in the most literal sense, a digestive aid. But you don't mind. You tell yourself it's for the best, that you are learning, that this is the only way you can be safe. You tell yourself this every night. Unsurprisingly, it helps. For now. Years pass, and you are 18 now. The boys who used to push you around in the courtyard are not boys anymore. They are knights, soldiers. Even the kitchen boy is now a chef with his own staff. The squire who laughed loudest is now a court official with a chain around his neck. They have all grown into their lives. You, on the other hand, have not grown at all. You see it clearly one morning in a polished shield hung on the wall. The face looking back is no longer a child's face, but the proportions are wrong in ways you can't explain. Your head sits on your body like it was measured for someone else. Even your hair is thinning at the temples the way old men's hair thins. But your height is still that of a 10-year-old. Seems the procedure worked. Over the years, you've already understood what happened to you. There's a demand for jesters, especially since the royals have made it trendy. Dwarves are the next best thing, since for some reason people believe they're naturally funny. The problem is, dwarfs aren't the norm. They're exceptions. Most people live their lives without ever seeing one. And that's where the compradichos come in. They kidnap kids to modify and deform them, to create artificial dwarves and supply the elites. No one pities you. You are just one of the many victims of a million gold coin industry. The men who once picked on you now do it with titles attached. A knight's boot finds your ankle in a corridor. He apologizes with a laugh that means nothing. You smile. Although it worsens the pain you have, you keep smiling. You have pains in other places too. Your hips and back ache when the weather changes. But you have learned to carry them the way you carry everything else, invisibly. So you perform. You amuse. One time a painter positions you under the Duke's hand for a portrait, and everyone agrees it is a fine composition. The truth is, your only purpose in the painting is to make him look bigger than he really is. When the painting comes out, other nobles borrow you for the same purpose. This causes your popularity with guests to skyrocket. This earns you small things, like better food, a room with less drought, and servants who nod instead of looking through you. You tell yourself, this is progress. But you know the truth. It is not progress. It is just a shinier cage. You also exercise Narrenfreiheit, the fool's freedom. This gives you the right to say things others cannot. You test it carefully for months. No problem. So for the next few years, you go full throttle. Big jokes. The Duke laughs every time. Then one evening when you're 25, you're asked to prepare to entertain the Duke's guest. It's at dinner honoring a visiting Duke. You're told that the guest is important. When the visiting Duke arrives, you notice one thing. He's huge. Scratch that. He's fat. You make a joke that you could take out 2 Henry VIIIs from him and still have enough to plug the gates in case of an invasion. Nobody laughs. Your Duke doesn't laugh either. It turns out that the man was once known for his fitness. Well, before an injury ended it. He has hated the subject ever since. Immediately, you are taken to the courtyard. There, part of your tongue is cut off. This is to serve as a punishment. While still in pain and bleeding, you're brought back to the presence of the guests and ordered to apologize. You do, but it's not intelligible. They laugh at you as they ask you to repeat it multiple times. By the time you're let go, you're half conscious due to blood loss. Over the next week, you assess your situation. You realize that you can still talk. Kind of. The listener only has to be patient and guess what you're actually saying. You never test the Narrenfreiheit again. You smile instead. Your voice never affected your smile. The years after the tongue are the worst. Couriers still trip you for laughs. Now they laugh at your voice too, especially when you try to protest. They imitate the sound you make. They find this hilarious. You stop trying to protest. Your body has also been protesting to you. Your knees ache from decades of forced falls. Your back pops audibly when you stand. You also have a ringing in your ears that began after the first trumpet prank. The prank was years ago, but the ringing never stopped. You've just turned 29 when the Duke hosts a banquet. At the banquet, a group of noblemen begin discussing loudly whether dwarves can reproduce. One suggests they find out through you. Another asks which woman would ever allow it. A third says a woman could be found, certainly, but she would demand a kingdom for the punishment. The room finds this magnificent as they all laugh. You were in a corner, and you heard all of it. You do not move. But if anyone were paying attention, they'd see a tear rolling down your face. A few months after the banquet, a girl is brought to the castle. Her name is Eugenia. She has a round face with wide, frightened eyes that you recognize anywhere. And most importantly, she's a dwarf. Although she's 7 years old, she looks 4. But unlike you, she was simply born this way. Still, you know exactly what this place will do to her. So you do what nobody did for you. You look after her. The first time a group of boys corner her in the corridor, you appear and stand very still and say nothing. You cannot say much anyway, but still, something in your face makes them leave. They do not bother her again. You also show her where to sleep. Which couriers smile because they mean it, and which ones smile because someone is watching. And at night, you tell her stories. The old ones, your mother's ones. Clever, small people outwitting giants. Proud kings losing everything to their own pride. Your words come out broken and slow. They always do now. But she never once looks impatient. She listens with her whole body, the way only children starved of warmth know how to listen. One night, she falls asleep against your shoulder mid-sentence. You do not move for a long time. Deep into the night, she sleep talks, saying she wishes you were her real father. You open your mouth. Nothing comes out. You close it and just stay there until the cock crows. In the morning, you tell her to call you uncle. The word comes out sideways, broken in the middle, but she understands it instantly. And something in her face cracks open. She calls you uncle for weeks afterwards, loudly. A year later, the Duke summons the royal painter. Then, he summons Eugenia too. She's brought to the studio in her best dress, hair brushed, looking almost pleased. She has never had a portrait made before. You stand near the wall where you always stand, present but unnoticed. That is your function here. The painter starts his work. He paints her in a solo portrait. You're happy for her, but you wonder why the Duke is doing this. With no obvious answer, you chalk it off to the Duchess taking a like to Eugenia. After all, she's the Duchess's lady-in-waiting. 2 hours after the painter finishes, you think this is all. Then the Duke tells her to undress. She does not look at the Duke. Instead, she looks at you, as if asking if she should do so. Immediately, you panic. This is because the Duke is watching and there is no version of this where you intervene and both of you survive it. So you make sounds at her. Broken ones. Urgent ones. The kind of sounds that, after years of hearing them, she has learnt to interpret. What they mean is, do as he says. She flinches. She has never flinched from your voice before. Not once. Not even when it first came out wrong and frightened other children. Still, she obeys as the painter starts painting her undressed. The paintings are finished within the week. The Duke names them La Monstrua Vestida, the clothed monster, and La Monstrua Desnuda, the naked monster. The court moves on within days. You do not. From that day, you avoid her corridor. Even when you hear her crying through the door at night, you keep walking. And you hate yourself for every step that takes you farther. The court gives her a nickname from the incident, Monster. They say it slowly, loudly, watching for a reaction. And Eugenia always flinches. You watch her lose a little more faith in people with every repetition, and you hate it. But who you hate most is Sergio. He was one of the boys that picked on you as a kid. You've stopped responding, and now he's found a better target. Eugenia. He runs from her down corridors, screaming that the creature is loose. Then he clutches his chest in mock terror, announcing to whoever's near that it's only the monster, that he thought the devil had come for him. People laugh. The Duke laughs. You watch this 3 times. On the 4th, something snaps. You confront Sergio one day. For some reason, he's delighted. That's when you understand it was never about her. She was just the tool he used to reach you. That realization doesn't cool your anger. It sharpens it. In blind rage, you challenge him to a duel. You expect him to decline. Instead, he laughs and accepts immediately. Now you know that you've messed up. You were never a marksman, but you know what you have to do. So you practice. By the 2nd week, your hands won't stop shaking. Still, you continue. Finally, the day of the duel arrives. On the day, you walk to the square like a man already sentenced. As you walk, your mind drifts to home, your real home. Then to Eugenia's face in that cold studio. That steals you. An hour later, Sergio arrives. The witness asks if you're both ready. You say yes. Then Sergio whips something out from under a cloth. A water pistol. The crowd loves it. He fires it at your chest, joking that it was the only thing he could find to make this competitive. Then he says something about Eugenia. You don't hear the rest. You just raise your pistol and fire. Sergio drops. You aimed for his head. Turns out you were a better marksman than you thought. But instead of cheers, you're bundled up and taken to the tribunal. At the tribunal, they do not debate whether the duel was legal. They debate whether it was a duel at all. Only humans duel, one man says. He is not human, says another. They argue that what he did was no different from an animal killing a man. You try to speak in your defense. The sounds that come out are not words. The room watches you make them. Someone laughs. You know that the verdict is moving towards death, but there's nothing you can do to stop it. You think that's how it'll end. Then she intervenes. The Duchess comes to your cell that night. She comes with Eugenia. The Duchess tells you that she couldn't bear the trial, as it wasn't justice. She also says she cannot guarantee Eugenia's safety, as she will be blamed regardless of what's decided. She tells you that she has begged the Duke to pardon you, but he said he cannot. At least, publicly. Sergio's death has made that impossible. But he can open a door in the night and look the other way. You understand what she means as she presses a small purse into your hand and leaves. Eugenia stays with you. You look at her and realize that the only reason you're breathing is because a woman you've barely spoken to decided you were worth something. You're grateful for that. So you take Eugenia's hand and walk through the door that has been gifted to you. To where? You do not know. You just promise yourself that wherever you go, the world will be kind to her.